Welcome back to Bog Firins. What's up, guys? In a dense forest, 5 friends wander around a deserted bungalow. Today's story. It begins by showing a drunk girl whom someone is trying to forcibly drag away somewhere, but she somehow manages to save her own life. She emerged from that place to encounter a masked figure before whom the solitary girl cried out. Despite her persistent wailing and pleas for her life, the person showed no compassion. He severed her body in two. How did this happen? Who is she? What is this place? And how did she arrive here? You will find the answers to all these questions in the story. For now, the scene shifts to a year later where we see a girl named Mary. She returns from her road trip. Perry stops outside a store to complete her unfinished task. In fact, this is the same place where she had seen the last picture of Mary's sister, Marlena, almost a year ago. That's why everyone also went to that store and stopped. Mary is very low on hope, but there's some possibility regarding her sister, and she still retains hope. Meanwhile, Shania strongly believes in a spirit game. She believes that if there is something like that, then we can communicate with Marlena's soul. However, her friends have no interest in any of these matters. But for her friend, they agree to do it and all gather around. Shania starts to chant some mantras, and after a short while they begin to sense there might be something approaching them. But it wasn't a person, rather a mini bus that had been honking at them for a long time. Mary goes inside and shows the owner a picture of her sister directly. When asked if he had seen her, he clearly denied it. Upon hearing this, Mary steps back, and the owner says, "You must be lost." Hearing this, Mary turns around and asks him forcefully, "How did you find out?" He explained that on the Glory Valley route, someone always gets lost. Mary had found a lead that might reach her sister. If alive, she'd run immediately, so she emerged and urged friends to go to Glory Valley, where they'd find something. Everyone remained happy despite the heavy rain and poor visibility, causing the driver to suspect they were circling the same spot repeatedly. It didn't seem like it because the road had no end in sight. Suddenly, they came under the open sky while it was still raining heavily, which seemed quite strange to them. They didn't see any graves there that gave off a very bad vibe. Without thinking, these people went into a bungalow built at that place. Because now they didn't want to go back into the rain, Mary was still outside. The 2 aprons of rain seemed very strange to her. And that's why she wanted to check the water, but it was just right. Suddenly, she saw the silhouette of another girl, which might be calling her, so she went back into the rain without thinking and started chasing that footprint, when suddenly a large object blocked her. Frightened, she turned back and saw her new boyfriend telling her to walk back. Then another friend entered that house. They saw some strange things, like a sandy clock, or register kept at the reception that is only Marlena's signature. A room that only had photos of missing people, including Marlena. Everything was dirty and covered in dust all around, but still it seemed like someone lived here. That someone lives here. Mary came in and said that she heard her sister's voice in the rain outside, as if she was calling her. Then suddenly, she heard an engine starting outside. Everyone ran towards the gate and saw someone starting their car and driving into that rainy area. Whoever was inside the car wasn't visible, but it was certain that someone wanted them not to leave from here. So much has happened in such a short time. This is definitely not an ordinary house. Now everyone decided that they had to find a landline because their phone network wasn't working here. At least with a landline, they could ask someone for help. Now Mary quickly found a landline, but it wasn't working. So, their Shania also dusted off a radio-like device, but it wasn't working either. Meanwhile, Henry and Angelina, who were outside watching that car, they suddenly heard the gate closing. It was as if someone had entered inside, so Handy went to check. It's been too long, he hasn't come back. Now, Angelina went inside to find him, and there was half-cut Handy, badly beaten, lying on the floor downstairs. Actually, there was a masked man who, without wasting much time, killed Angelina as well. He attacked before anyone could react, so that others would also find out about this. Now, Jack immediately ran in this direction and realized that an unknown person had entered the house and was shouting for Foreign to run away. But he killed everyone in one move, leaving only Mary alive in the end. She stabbed him with a knife, but it seems like no one came to her aid. Mari was told that if she stayed here, she would die like her friends. That's why she ran into the forest seeking help. There, in the fog, she saw a troubled man who was looking at her, but initially, unfortunately, she couldn't ask him anything. Or she asked for help, and a road appeared, and her caravan passed by, meaning all 5 out of 5 were killed. But this is not the end of the story. Once again, the sand clock started spinning, and everything began from the start again. But now they knew what had happened last time. No one understands what is actually happening. Are they somehow stuck in a loop? Or is there a spirit that is not letting them leave? Meanwhile, Henry said that enough is enough, we should take the car and go via the main route. But then Angelina said in a loud voice, it's not that easy. I saw in the register that there are several entries with the same name. That means one person has lived his life multiple times. Only then does the gate suddenly start to open and close repeatedly, making all of their faces turn white with fear. Henry went and forcefully closed the gate, as did Shauna, who has more knowledge about spirits. She received some information, felt something, as if someone was perceiving around her. She told her friends that something very bad was going to happen tonight. A foul smell emanated from his mouth, he suddenly sneezed loudly, and then vanished without leaving any trace. Yes, he disappeared. When everyone searched for him together, they saw his missing poster room with a picture hanging in the air, which caused everyone's hair to stand on end. He kept repeating the same thing, saying he's had enough and to let him die. His finger was on his missing photo, where not only his but also his friends' photos were displayed. Suddenly, Mono realized that someone had twisted her neck and she had fallen down. When Mary saw this, she was shocked and couldn't understand what was happening. At some point, she decided to come to that place. Will everyone have to believe it again? Everyone was thinking that someone had knocked loudly on the door. Mono thought that someone had entered again or was approaching them, but it was Melina's voice. Mary thought that her sister was seeking help. That's why she hastily opened the gate and ran outside. Jack tried to stop her, but there was no one there. Except for a hut that had appeared out of nowhere in front of them. Then a strong wind blew, and everyone went inside the house except Mary. Because some sinister person was taking her away from that hut. Then suddenly she fainted. While the remaining people hurried to flee, Jack was not willing to leave without his girlfriend. He opened the gate and ran outside. Meanwhile, Mary was in the hut. He saw some strange veils nearby that were concealing things in a very frightening way. But that wasn't all, he also saw a clueless person there who was sitting and watching TV. When she approached him, he was sleeping, so she decided to flee from there, but the gate was shut down with great force a few moments later. The grown man woke up and immediately walked towards Mary. He told her, either become part of this night or be sacrificed. As she spoke, she placed an oxygen-like mask over his mouth, causing Mary's eyes to slowly turn black. Then, the man began to speak. After a while, a tune emerged, but Mary had changed. Henry and Angelina had to flee by any means. They started the car and began to speed away immediately. After a short while, they encountered a massive shadow, so upon seeing it, they reversed their car. Now Angelina wants to get out of the car, but at that moment, someone killed Henry. It was no one else but the same masked man, who had now also come close to Angelina. He went to the other side and reached that hut, but there he only saw the rag, there was no sign of Mary. There was only an oddly looking mask while Jaya heard noise upstairs. When she investigated, Jaya went upstairs and found a doll comfortably sitting on a moving chair. But then Mary appeared behind her, now wearing a mask. She immediately dismissed him and left the shack. Meanwhile, the masked man approached Mary and killed her. That means the tricksters survived again and gathered together in Washro. Henry was thirsty, so he turned on the tap there. Sheeny explained that water usually doesn't flow here, but today it did by luck. She drank some and shared with her friends, as Yogesh and the others hadn't eaten recently. Everyone was worried and wondering, but seconds after drinking water, Hendry oddly said coughing would start. He told me something. Today, things start to become visible, and the others couldn't understand what was happening. Then Hendry suddenly exploded like a bomb, and his body parts scattered. Seeing this, Bage's shocked friends thought it was their turn. Slowly dying, they made Mary realize the true situation. And when it was her turn, the owner of that store came to her and killed her as well, ending her life. In this way, everyone failed this time. But when the Sandy clock turns again, they come back to life. Without wasting any time, they began searching for evidence and trying to find out what happened. What's happening? Mary finds the owner's ID card, revealing he's a psychologist. This place was once a prosperous town. Now, this place used to be a thriving town in some era, but the foreman's greed and negligence ruined everything. Meanwhile, excavation work was underway here. One day, it collapsed, engulfing the village and killing everyone. The rescue team included a psychologist. Meanwhile, psychologist Inyo had it in the tape recorder, where we can see him conducting strange experiments on a living person. He is conducting experiments by keeping him locked in a room, slowly transforming him into a bizarre creature due to hunger, thirst, and medications. After a short while, he came back to life. Everyone was told it was the same thing happening to us. Then Mary said we can never escape from here. To stop everything, we must kill that doctor, the psychologist. Only then will it end. Meanwhile, a voice on the radio tells Mary, if you want to meet the doctor. Mary promptly invited Jack and Shin to follow her alone into the forest, and they arrived without delay. Suddenly, his foot was caught in a trap, and someone dragged him into a dark shadow. Meanwhile, Shnai and Jack searched for Mary, discovering a settlement submerged in a crevice. During this time, they encountered a terrifying demon hovering above them. Both are terrified, their throats drying up. Crying and weeping, Shauna wakes on the floor like a dog's ear. Something outside was violently torn apart by someone, and Jack began running away. Meanwhile, inside the house, the masked man killed Henry and Angelina. But Mary was still alive here. She came out and then Jack saw her and tried to remove her trap, but then a demon appeared in front of her. And Jack cleverly placed that trap into her mouth. Seeing this scene, Pikari Mary's heart sank because that demon was none other than her elder sister. Now, both of them ran and hid in one place, but Mary was convinced that this time she had failed. So she took a piece of glass and said to end it. Jack made no mistake this time and executed her. He went outside, but moments later, he exploded, ending everything. Now, the ticking clock is spinning again, but this time no fear appeared on anyone's face. Instead, they received answers to unresolved questions. Their very first thing now, only one option left. Death this time means becoming part of the game. More people have formed and some features started appearing on Henry's back. He is slowly turning into a demon. Then they remembered that Sheena has disappeared. Nobody knew where she went or if she returned. Hanny took out her phone to record everything. He retrieved the footage of the last death and saw that each time, we were dying in different ways. Last time when Shania died, that psychologist had come in through a secret door. He then guided Shania through the same door to a cave. Could their freedom lie there? This time, all friends vowed they would not lose. Now they enter that cave which leads into a settlement that was probably inhabited in some era. There they encounter many demons. But this time, they all demonstrate teamwork while Mary moves forward and sees her sister turn into a demon. She tried very hard to make her remember, but all was in vain. In the end, she had to kill her as everyone had turned to this side. Everyone worked together to kill that masked man. The scene cuts to Shania, who has reached Mary, and she is imprisoned at the same place, where the last remaining man was locked up by that doctor. It wasn't just Shania alone, but there was also a monster with her. However, Mary did not have the keys to that room. When she went inside to search for him, she saw a monitor room where her file was placed on the table. Seeing that, She understood that everything was being handled from there. Still, the doctor came from behind and said, "I knew all along that while searching for your sister, you would definitely come here." "Well done, you've made it far," he said, setting his coffee cup on the table, while Mary noticed faucet water dripping, which had already caused their death if you recall, and he took advantage of it here by mixing that water into her coffee, making her drink it immediately. The doctor violently tore apart and scraped the room's keys from his broken body, freeing her friend. Now everyone united, and they started trying to get out of this place, but finding the way was not easy, especially with the monsters chasing after them. Still, they eventually found a way out. Time started moving again, but this time no one was hurt because they finished off the doctor. They all survived. If any had died, the game would restart. Now, friends, we see the rain outside has ceased. And see, everyone gets very happy, but they have no idea that when they were loading everything into the car, their footage was displayed again on the monitor. The game isn't over yet. Share your thoughts on the story by leaving a comment. See you in the next video. Thanks.